Amigos, retornamos después de tantos meses sin habernos visto. Afortunadamente estamos de vuelta y esta noche vamos a estar con un invitado muy especial desde Canadá. Pero antes, pues les recuerdo, soy Óscar Ospina del equipo skate.com. Estamos en nuestro habitual programa de Entre Ruedas, que ya pudieron haber visto dos temporadas anteriores en las que hicimos durante la cuarentena. Si recuerdan, pues hicimos ejercicios para estar en casa, para mantenernos en forma. En la segunda temporada tuvimos algunas entrevistas con personalidades como Andy Gido, tuvimos a personas de Ecuador también, hemos tenido a personas de Argentina, y esta vez ya vamos a cambiar un poco el formato y también un poco el idioma. Entonces nos vamos a ir hacia el norte del continente, vamos a llegar hasta Canadá a saludar a nuestro amigo Shaun Unwin, y en este momento vamos a saludar primero a Camilo, está acá con nosotros.
Hola equipo, aquí con Camilo de skate.com, y tal como nos dice Oscar, vamos a tener una sesión para que conozcan a Shaun Unwin y un poco más de todo eso que sucede, que vemos en internet, en YouTube.
Y ahí está la tormenta. Ya pasó la calma, ahora llegó la tormenta. La tormenta, yo creo que eso fue Sean desde allá, desde Canadá, mandándonos como buena energía y nos mandó así como un trueno. Cayó allá de Camilo.
Súper. Listo. Entonces entra pam, 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 pam.
Okay, entonces, right now we have Shaun Unwin from Canada. So Shaun, welcome to our show.
Namaste, my friends. Hello to all my friendly skaters in Colombia and Bogota and all over South America. Thank you for having me.
We were longing to have you here for a really long time and to give us your Namaste salute. So thank you so much for that, because that's going to be like a great hit for all of your fans here in Colombia and Latin America who I mean, they have learned with you some tricks. You have showed us your life in Canada. You have showed us so much with your friends and your videos. So thank you so much for being here tonight.
Oh, it's amazing. Like, having made all these videos and put them out and gotten this amazing response from all over the world, it's just blown my mind. It's beyond my wildest dreams. So thank you to anyone out there that has ever watched one of the videos. And if you've gotten something from it, like, that means so much to me. So thank you very much.
We all have. I'm sure we all have. So thanks to you.
My pleasure. Yeah. What an honor, truly.
So, Shaun, just to get to know you a little better, could you please tell us where do you currently live?
So I live in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, which is a large city, 1.5 million people here in Calgary. It's a really spread out city. We're located just on the west side of the Rocky Mountains. So the culture here is an outdoorsy culture. People love to get out to the mountains and, very sporty place. And Calgary truly is a special place. It's, whenever they do these world rankings, I don't know exactly how they do it, but every year Calgary is, one of the top 10 cities in the entire world to live in. It's incredible. Clean air, clean water. But the thing that I love the most about Calgary is the friendly people. It's amazing, the people here. They're so supportive. They just want everyone to have a good life. It's, a cosmopolitan mix of people from all over the world. Mm-hmm. Lots of, people from South America and Colombia, lots of Asians, these people from all over the world, lots of Europeans. It's a real cool mix of people that come here to, enjoy the lifestyle that Calgary brings. It's a really, really cool place. And if you're a skater, to me, it's a mecca. I'm hoping people from all over the world see the videos, and maybe they don't know that they're in Calgary. Maybe I should publish this a bit more. But if you're into skating, this is a place you want to come and skate. We have over 1,000 kilometers of paved pathways that wind its way all through the city. Huge parks, where you get to skate. You don't even feel like you're in the city anymore. You're like skating through the forest almost. It's such a cool thing. And then we have a huge downtown that's strictly a business district. Like people in Calgary, it's changing a little bit now, but people in Calgary don't live downtown. They live, you know, in the suburbs somewhere else, and then they go downtown to work. So we have this big centralized downtown, but after work hours, there's no one there. So that's when, you know, you put on the skates and you go play around, and you have this amazing, you know, playground essentially for you to interact with the city on your wheels, and so many fun, interesting things to do. And then not to mention all the skate parks. You know, if you're into riding skate parks, there's more skate parks than like I can keep track of at this point. They're popping up all the time. And we have one of the biggest skate parks in the world, I would guess. Certainly it was at one time the biggest skate park in North America, right here in Calgary. That's amazing.
Great. That's about where you currently live, but let's talk a little bit about where are you from? You were born and
Yeah.
raised like where?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Lethbridge, Alberta. So in relationship to Calgary, it's not that far away. It's about 200 kilometers south. It's a small city. When I lived there, you know, it was about 75,000 people. So kind of a big enough city where you have one of everything, but it's not, you know, doesn't have that city feel. Feels like a big small town, if that makes any sense. Yeah, and I grew up there just as a sporty kid. You know, loved playing every single sport. Me and my friends every day, it was soccer and baseball and hockey, football. You know, every single day we played every single sport. And then one day we're down at the local hangout, the basketball court and the tennis courts. We're playing tennis, and a neighbor girl actually lived like behind the back lane of my house, showed up at the tennis court with a pair of Wayne Gretzky Ultra Wheels.
Wow.
Yeah, and so this was 1990. I was
Uh-huh.
9 years old. I tried them on, and I was blown away. Like, certainly inline skating started to become a thing. Like, I was aware of it, but you know, the conversations we had around my house with my parents said like, yeah, they look great if you have a place to do it. And I thought, okay, yeah, like that argument sort of makes sense. I'm not going to push it anymore. But then I tried them, and I was blown away. I was like, I could not believe how well they worked. So I was skating. Actually, I wasn't skating on the tennis court. We were skating on the basketball court, which is just adjacent to the tennis court. And it was rough asphalt. Like, it wasn't smooth in any way. But skating around on it, it felt smooth. I couldn't believe it. So, you know, I marched home. I told my parents, like, right then and there, like, I need skates. And they made that same argument, like, yeah, sure, but like, where are you going? I'm like, there's a basketball court down the street. There's a tennis court right down the street. Like, I need to go rollerblading. So then that year at Christmas, sure enough, there's a pair of inline skates there for me. So thank you, Mom and Dad. It was the best Christmas ever. We were up at 5 a.m. because, yeah, I don't know, you're 9 years old, you're excited for Christmas. So we're up super early. I got a pair of CCM Tax was the brand. It was a plastic boot skate, had orange wheels, orange laces, no buckles. They just like laced right up to the top. And my younger brother also got a pair of similar skates, and we were down at that tennis court playing, you know, roller hockey at 5 a.m. Christmas Day. You know, it just happened to be no snow at that time. So that was the beginning of the love affair. And then since then, I didn't take them off. I skated everywhere. You know, some of my like fondest memories of skating were skating around the schoolyard at recess in elementary school. You know, that would never be allowed now. Like, you would never be able to like skate around at recess. But I guess then it didn't make any difference. So we were ripping around. It was fun. I put on like a show for the kids. You know, friends would have like their notebooks out, and they'd be like, you know, holding up the scorecard, like, oh, that was 5 out of 10. That was 10 out of 10. It was fun. I just got hooked on it. And, you know, at that time I was playing other sports competitively, like playing hockey competitively, and playing like basketball on school teams and badminton and these sorts of things. And, over the years, skating just like slowly took over more and more of my life. I made a trip out to Vancouver, Canada, to visit some family, and they took me to the P&E, which is the Pacific National Exhibition. And essentially it's, it was like a fairgrounds. There's like roller coasters and different rides, but they also had an inline skate show where there was a half pipe, some small rails, like, small, like a practice rail built on a 2x4, and some launch ramps and stuff like that. And, I had my skates with me because I didn't go anywhere without my skates, but this is my first time seeing this side of it. And, it just fully captured me. So they put on 3 shows. So I went to the first show, kind of stood in the back in awe. And then the second show, I'm kind of like in the middle of the crowd. And then the third show, I'm like right at the front cheering as hard as I can. They were giving out stickers. I got some like Hyperwheel stickers that I stuck on my skates. And I was so fascinated with every little bit about it. Like I can still remember the gloves that they were wearing, and the pads and the helmets. And, one guy had Rossi's skates, like the maybe Impala 62s with the aluminum frame,
yeah, those are
and
classic.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Beautiful.
And, just listening to like the MC who I, met years later, but only ever knew him as Iceman. So I just have all these vivid memories. And, over the years, I kind of pieced together like who these people were in the show. And then the next day, there was, I think it's the first skate park ever built in Canada, but it happened to be close to where my aunt and uncle lived. We were visiting, and they took us to the skate park. And essentially the skate park was maybe like an 8-foot bowl that opened up into like a small sort of snake run. And I remember like dropping in on that bowl the first time, and I like laced it first try. I can still remember my brother dropping in and doing the classic, you wash out on your butt. But I did it first try, and then I just knew right then and there that I had a new purpose in my life, and that was to skate. So over the years, like, I quit playing hockey during the winter, so I could skate during the winter. And that meant like shoveling snow from ledges so you can go and grind ledges, and setting up rails in, my parents' garage, which was, cold. That's not an insulated, heated garage. It was like a cold garage that my parents parked their car in, but they were nice enough to pull it out so we could skate. So you're like shoveling the dirty snow that would fall off the car. And yeah, it just became my life after that. It was amazing.
How old were you at this point? Like when you went to this park?
So that I was at 13 years old then. So, I was a young teenager, in middle school. And, when you're in those teenage years, you're kind of like struggling for an identity, which, we all go through. It's hard time in life, really trying to like fit in and, figure out your role. And then, skating gave me that. I became like the skater at school. I got to, back then, the sport shops, if they ordered so many skates, they would get like a free pair of skates to give to like a local kid to promote or whatever. So I got to be like the like sponsored skater. So I got to go to, high school wearing like my Solomon team shirt. And it was cool. I felt like, I was somebody in like a small little way.
Of course, because we all know that rollerblading in the 90s was like a real big thing, right?
Yeah.
I guess all over the world, not only in Canada, but all over the world.
It was the fastest growing sport for a long time. It had, it really made its mark. It was a fun time for sure.
Yeah, I know. It also happened here in Colombia that rollerblading became like a really big sport. in the 90s. So most of us had our first pair of skates around around 94, 95 maybe.
Yep.
And until I don't know what happened afterwards, the new millennium, but something happened and just kind of almost disappeared, the rollerblading scene here in Colombia. But we're back. We're
Yeah.
back, and we're with one of our main reasons we're here. Just,
I have a
just
story
like,
about that. Can I jump in really quick?
yeah, sure.
So I remember the day like rollerblading died. So what happened was, so I was at the sports shop, that was like sponsoring me. And then I started, I was working there selling hockey equipment and rollerblades and sharpening skates and, having a fun job at the, local sports store. And then one year, like the manager sat me down and said like, look, Shaun, like pretty soon we're not going to be selling skates. The only place that you might be able to get skates is this department store. Like the numbers are falling off. Like it's not a thing anymore. And I almost cried. Like, I'm not going to lie. I was so choked up. It was hard to hear. Yeah. But, I got over it. I still had friends that wanted to skate. And I mean, it was what it was, but it's nice to like see the revival again.
Yeah, I
People
know.
are like recapturing that spark from, the 90s, which is so cool.
Yeah, we're back. We're old, and we got the experience to get this thing going on back again.
Yeah. Do,
So
do,
true.
do you have any theory about why rollerblading on the new millennium just almost disappeared? Maybe something that you came up with?
Yeah, like I've thought so much about it and I've never really been able to make up my mind. I know in North America, at least, it fell out of favor. It became uncool. It kind of became a joke a little bit. So for some people, that was like a good enough reason to stop doing it. Maybe, the equipment and things like this kind of like declined a little bit. So I feel like that had a part in it. It was harder to get things, if you had a pair of skates that you liked using and, you weren't the most hardcore skater, but now you couldn't get brakes for your skates,
Mm-hmm.
and it got just put aside and you forgot about it and, you rode your bike or did something else instead. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tricky one. I don't really have a good answer for it. I don't know. I guess for my demographic, at least, I think it was, the pressure from like skateboarding and these other cultures that kind of put inline skating down. There was a time where every day after school, I'd go home and like rollerblading was on TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then
On the X Games.
just wasn't anymore. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I remember for a birthday present one year, a friend gave me like a VHS tape of the ultimate inline challenge that he had like recorded off of TV with a pair of sonic grind plates like in the case. Yeah. that was a good one.
Well, yeah, maybe we have we came with a theory about why rollerblading like declined a little, and it was because of the PS1 Tony Hawk's Pro Skater game.
Oh, that game was amazing.
I know,
Definitely amazing.
everyone enjoyed it. I mean, we all played it after school. So, and by the same time, there was never a rollerblading game that I know.
Yeah, no kidding.
So maybe I don't know. Maybe kids from our age started seeing Tony Hawk and all skaters like their new idols, I guess. So they just dropped the rollerblades and took the skates, I mean, that's
No, I like that theory a lot actually, because that game was so huge. Like it's
Yep.
hard to imagine. Like I'm sure if we looked at the sales numbers, they would just blow our minds. They sold millions and millions and millions of copies of that game. Because even now, like if I randomly hear a song that was like in the soundtrack to that game, you know, like I instantly recognize it. Like that's definitely burnt into many of our brains. Yeah, that's a good theory. I like that.
Yeah, that was our best shot to what happened.
We need to become video game designers.
There was a game like 5 or 6 years ago. Like some people were developing a rollerblading game, but I don't know what happened with that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but yeah, I don't know the story there. It seemed very promising because there was like lots of buzz about it, and I remember Richie Eisler. So he was a well-known skater from Canada. You know, he showed me pictures of him like suited up in like kind of a black suit with like balls all over it, essentially.
Yes, sensors.
Motion capturing, to like, you know, for the video game and all that. So it was, that was supposed to be something. It's interesting. I don't know whatever happened to that. That would be a fun story to get into, but
yeah. So before we move over, could you tell us the name of your cat, please?
Oh, this is Cairo.
Cairo.
Hello, Cairo. Yeah, this is Cairo. He's 14, I think.
Wow.
He's old, and he gets tortured by my kids. That's for sure. But me and Cairo have our evening love fest down here on the couch or on the chair in front of the computer every night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, never was a cat person, but you know, this was my wife's cat. But now, me and Cairo are best friends. This little guy. Yeah, I can't make a video down here without him making an appearance.
Cool. That's cool.
Amazing.
Famous Cairo. Yeah, where were we?
So right now,
maybe
we should go through
the camera over.
a little. Yeah. Now let's go to skating culture in Canada.
Yes.
So Camilo's going to ask you about that.
Sure.
Great. Okay, you told us a little bit about how was your experience like as a kid and a teenager roller skater. You know, things happened when these changes of the environment in rollerblading. How is skating in Canada? How can we perceive it, or how do you define it?
So, skating in Canada it's like a life skill. You know, it's like a rite of passage for every Canadian kid to learn how to skate. And it's primarily like a winter activity. You know, there's ice arenas all over, and you know, in every small town, you know, tons in every city, as well as, you know, frozen ponds and frozen lakes and outdoor rinks. And, you know, very common, people build a rink in their backyard. You know, they smooth out the snow and get out the hose and they flood their backyard with water and create an ice rink. And it becomes, you know, a family activity. Like, families get together for the holidays and they go out, you know, they go ice skating down at the lake, you know, or in the backyard or down at the pond or whatever it is. And, you know, playing hockey is a huge driver. You know, hockey in Canada, it's hard to describe, but it's kind of a cliche to say, but it's like a religion in Canada. You know, it's it permeates the culture in so many different ways. You know, here in Calgary, we have a professional team, the Calgary Flames. And, you know, when the Calgary Flames are playing a hockey game, it's a different energy in the city. You know, like you can feel it. You know, so people are driving around and someone scores a goal, they're listening to the radio, they're like honking their horns. You know, all the pubs and bars are crowded with people watching the game. You know, people wear their jerseys to work that day. You know, you know, it's part of the culture, and you know, thousands and thousands of kids play minor hockey growing up, and figure skating is a big sport as well as speed skating, but primarily on ice. So in some ways, I kind of see a correlation where, like, if it's a really good year for ice skating, specifically outdoors, like it's like a cold winter and, you know, the lakes, you know, there's lots of ice to skate on. You know, when the springtime comes around, you see like more people out on their inline skates, but it is primarily driven as a winter sport. But here in Calgary, I kind of mentioned before that, you know, it's a mixture of cultures, and there's so many like new Canadians, people moving to Calgary from all over the world, that you know, their families didn't grow up playing hockey or skating at all, you know, or they come from somewhere warmer where, like, you know, rollerblading or inline skating is more of a thing. And through, you know, my work with Alien Inline, so I'm a master instructor with Alien Inline. I've been teaching inline skating primarily to kids for, you know, more than 10 years now.
Wow.
I have a chance, and I teach probably 10,000 kids every year how to skate, or, you know, maybe I taught them how to skate the year before and I'm teaching them again, you know, some new skills. But, you know, through Alien Inline, we're teaching about 100,000 kids every year. And these programs are generally in elementary schools. So we go to the school with skates, with pads, with helmets. We set up in the gymnasium for a couple weeks, and then the kids will come down to the gym and we'll teach them how to skate for, you know, a couple weeks at their school. And the kids get, you know, a break from the mundane classroom, boring stuff. They get to skate around in the gym and they love it. And it's many times like the first exposure to these like new Canadian families to skating is their kids doing it in school. And then from there, you know, we get lots of these kids that come to our summer camps and join like my skate club. And it kind of, you know, for those of us that grew up with it, it's a chance for us to share with these new families, you know, a part of our identity as a Canadian, you know, being able to skate, you know, so they learn it in school, and then, you know, it hopefully becomes part of their life, and it, you know, inspires their families. Like many times the kids will take a lesson from me at school, and then I'll teach their entire family, you know, a couple skate lessons and get them geared up and into the sport.
That really sounds amazing, because that sounds like a bonding to you Canadians with immigrants.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, it's an unreal experience. So even in like the global pandemic, things at the schools have changed a lot. Like they don't really want people outside the school coming in. But at some schools, they're like, we cannot deprive the kids of this experience. Like whatever the risks are, like, let's do it. We'll do it as safely as we can. And, you know, we do it super safe. Like, I don't think there's too many risks with all the protocols we've come up with. But I was at a school last week, and in this neighborhood, there was like lots of every different culture, but lots of families from Africa and East India and Filipino kids, and all these families that, again, like skating is not, you know, their family didn't grow up skating. And they just love it so much. Like the best feeling in the world is the kids come up to you afterwards. They're like, Shaun, I can do it. And I'm like, yes, you can. And then no high fives right now, but, you know,
oh yeah,
now, namaste, you can do it. Yeah. So I feel so grateful that I can share, you know, my passion, my love in such a big way with all these different kids, you know, every different background. It's such a great experience.
Sounds really great.
yeah. You have
As a
just
matter of fact,
become I'm sorry, sorry. Go ahead.
As a matter of fact, this sounds a little bit like what happens here in Colombia with soccer, because soccer has been like a tool to bond people together. We have seen going on like militaries having soccer games with uh, these other guys. You know, we have soccer games to fix everything. Uh, so, doesn't this sound familiar to you, Oscar?
Yeah. It sounds kind of familiar, but sometimes also it is also, I don't know, disruptive, I guess, or I don't know how to call it, because uh, there's so much passion with soccer fans that oftenly we get we get too fanatic
Yeah.
with our teams. So but there's something about what Camilo was saying that maybe that I remember back in school that all of us, guys and girls, it didn't matter. We all played together soccer, and it didn't matter which team you were a fan of. We just played just for fun, but it was because we were kids, right? So I don't know if maybe growing up it changes a little bit and it goes too far to fanatism. So, but sport could really change many people into something good. So,
Yeah. Well, from my experience teaching so many people how to skate, like building off what we said, all these new Canadian families, like many times soccer is their sport. Soccer is such a worldwide sport that it's not uncommon that, these kids are soccer players. And if you're a soccer player out there, try skating. Like, you will be good at it. Without question, when I talk to kids and they're just new to it, breaking the ice, I might ask, okay, like, do you play any other sports? And then when they say soccer, I'm like, okay, like, don't worry, you got this. Like, soccer players are good at skating. And I can't pinpoint why exactly. Maybe they're good with their feet, I suppose.
yeah, maybe.
And then you got to get used to the different acceleration. And of course, there's a learning curve, but they learn so quickly and they take to it so well. So if you're, a soccer player and maybe you're fed up with the extreme part of it that kind of takes away some of the fun, people are too
Yep.
competitive, they've lost sight of like really what makes soccer special, join the skating community, because you will learn a new skill, you'll have a natural aptitude for it, you'll learn fast, the learning curve goes quick, so you get that satisfaction of learning something new and improving and improving and improving. And you'll have like a fun community of people to skate with that aren't competitive in that way. Like, nobody's going to, like, no skater ever says like like, I don't want to skate with you because you learned something faster than I did, or
Yeah,
you know what I
that's
mean?
true.
Like, people put
Yep.
that aside and they're like, oh no, like, that's cool, like, I want to learn how to do that. Or people take, it's more of an individualistic sport in that everyone creates and cultivates their own style. So somebody might be good at something and you might be good at something else.
Yep.
And your skating goes this way and maybe their style goes a different way, but everyone has their own style and they kind of, can represent and, what am I trying to say? They can, paint a picture with their skating that suits them.
Well,
Beautifully.
yeah. Well, for this was a really good advice for all the parents from Colombia. Uh, Soccer is not the only game that your kids can play. So please, just if they're in soccer lessons, please send them to us. We'll happily be their teachers and teach them just like Sean does with 100,000 Canadian kids a year. Uh,
Yeah.
We're trying to do that here also in Colombia.
And a message to the parents too.
Yep.
It's not going to take away from their soccer. You know, if anything, it's going to improve their soccer skills. It's a great balance, you know, like you do kids a disservice if you focus too much on one thing. Like they're not going to be able to maintain. They're going to get burnt out on whatever it is. Like they need a variety. And, you know, if the ultimate goal is for them to be a soccer player, you know, they're going to have better endurance. Their legs are going to be stronger. They're going to learn how to use their bodies better by skating. And roller soccer is an amazing game to play as well. You get the soccer ball out with the roller blades. So much fun.
We have tried it with a tennis ball. So.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Yeah. Oh, bust out the soccer ball. It's so much fun. I do that with like my skate club kids.
Oh.
Well, yeah, that's like one thing that they ask for. Like I have to tell them no. Like this week, no, we're not playing roller soccer. Like you're focusing on your edging.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
We have had some of that experience with our apprentices. We have had a lot of falling. I mean, because rollerblading and playing soccer at the same time, I mean, roller soccer, it's not that easy as it seems. I mean, even if you are a great skater, someone may just hit you, or I don't know. It happens sometimes. So,
it can be scary.
Yeah.
Like if you're standing back watching, yeah, like I'm like, oh my God, like please don't die right now. But in the end, it's all good fun, and it's a great kind of leveling out in a way, where you can be the best skater out of the whole group, but like you're not necessarily going to dominate a game of roller soccer just because you think you're the best skater or you're the best at soccer. You know, you're not going to necessarily dominate a game of roller soccer. So it's, I don't know, as a fun game, it's great. Although sometimes you worry that someone's going to tear their knees to shreds and their faces are going to bash together. Yeah.
I know.
It gives me heebie-jeebies. I know exactly what you're talking about, though.
So, Shaun, talking about passion, like our passion for soccer is like great, and your passion in Canada is for hockey, right? Yeah. So, how exactly did your passion for rollerblading came? Like, just like you told us from when you were a kid?
Yeah. So immediately I loved it, and you know, at that age, it was just simply like fun. Like I never keyed on what it was that I was enjoying about it necessarily, but you know, I always thought skating was fun, like ice skating. So being able to rollerblade, and now I wasn't just stuck on an ice rink. I had like the whole city to skate around. It was amazing. And, you know, there was banks and jumps, and you could kind of experiment with everything around you. And it was like a new way to interact with what was around me. So I just enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. And then, you know, in those teenage years, it gave me an identity and a purpose, as in, you know, improving my skills. Like I was really driven to improve and, you know, be the best that I could be. So, you know, that challenge and that achievement and that reward that comes back, you know, you write down different tricks that you want to try, and then, you know, do it, or you just think of something that's cool and then you can do it, and you get that amazing feeling of like achieving this and creating something new. So it's just kind of that building off itself. But now, you know, I'm almost 40 years old and been on skates for 30 years. So I asked myself that, like, for years and years and years, like, why is it so fun? Like, what do I get out of this? And for me, it was, you know, that idea of the flow skate. And the flow skate is using skating to get into the flow state. And the flow state is a phenomenon that's been studied by, you know, lots of scientists and psychologists and this sort of thing, but it truly is kind of our highest sense of being, where time doesn't exist. you know, when you're skating, one stride flows into the next stride without thinking. You're just in the moment, and then before you know it, so, you know, now that I'm almost 40 years old, and I've had lots of time to think about, like, what is it truly that makes skating so satisfying? Why do I like it so much? Why is it so fun? And the thing that I've keyed in on is the idea of the flow skate, using skating to get into the flow state, that higher sense of being where time doesn't exist. Each, you know, stride flows from one to the other, and before you know it, you arrive at your destination and you're covered in sweat and you have no idea almost how you got from A to B, but you have a huge smile on your face and you feel like fully satisfied.
Wow. Wow. So people, skate fans, you have just witnessed like one of the biggest and most significant speeches in rollerblading scene ever. So uh, that was just great, Sean. Thank
Yeah.
you for thank you for sharing that speech, because it was like, I think a lot of people are gonna a lot of people are gonna be thinking about that, what you just said, when they skate again, whatever, whenever.
Yeah, I mean, skating has brought me that peace, like that peace in my soul where, you know, you're going through life and, you know, sometimes you have these existential questions where you're wondering, like, what is the purpose of life? You know, like, what is the point of everything? You know, like, and, you know, those sorts of questions and things can like bog you down, but skating kind of gave me the answer. And it wasn't just skating, it was, you know, being in the moment and enjoying things. And for me, you know, I've used skating as this tool where I can start to have, for me, what feels like a relationship with God, where I can feel like there is more, you know, and you get this feeling from so many different things, but, you know, kind of like we were saying, skating is almost like a cheat code into that mind space where there's something magical about having wheels strapped on your feet and you're moving about this space in a different way, in an almost like frictionless sort of environment. And it almost like tricks your body into getting into that zone. And it's just magic. It's a beautiful thing.
Wow, that's really deep. I cannot say anything else about
I've thought way too much about it. So, but, you know, I'm one of those people that, like, I'll fixate on those things. And for a long time in my life, I didn't have that inner peace. Like, I was questioning, and it was like sometimes like hard to go to bed at night. But, you know, when I came to terms with that and realized that, no, like, life is better when you can achieve, you know, that flow state in whatever you're doing, you know. So I've been able to like take that from skating and apply it to, you know, different things in my life, to my work and family life. You know, like, I have young kids, and sometimes you're like, oh God, like, you're driving me crazy right now. Like, I, for whatever reason, you're like, oh, I don't want to just, but if you just accept it and get into it and know, you know, it's an experience that is only in the moment right now. you get that feeling, and life is better. You have a better relationship, with my kids certainly, or any of my family members. If I'm editing skate videos, like, it can be mundane. Editing videos is like, you're staring at a screen, and it can be like hard work, but the focus that you get from skating, you use that discipline to focus in on what you're doing, and before you know it, like, a couple hours has passed and you've created something new, like, a new piece of skate art that you can put out into the world, or whatever it is that you're doing, your job or anything else.
Great. I believe that the trick or the pathway for achieving that cheat code that you defined is that we can achieve that same emotion, that same feeling with anything, like if you have your own thing that you like, it's not something exclusive for roller skating. Just as you said, it's like a cheat code, it's like, oh my God, I did it. I felt it. There's people that can do it cooking. There's people that can do it on yoga, on soccer, driving, singing, whatever. Um, and that's the beauty of it. We are all humans, and we can connect in different ways and achieve the same point. Like the same feeling, the same sense of connectedness with something higher or different that allows us like these sort of emotions. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Besides these technical skills or rollerblading or uh, the flow state, what else has roller skate or inline skating taught you?
So what else? Well, it's taught me, well, it's taught me like a lot about myself, certainly. I've never ever considered myself like an artistic person, for example. In studies, like, the reason I moved to Calgary was to study engineering at the university here. So, for the most part, I had like a very, in what I thought was like a technical mind, like a very, math and science sort of mind. But skating has taught me that, there's art and beauty in all these different things. And it's allowed me to kind of bring that out of myself. My love for teaching and sharing what I love and being able to break down skills. Like you mentioned, like, not just physically, like I've learned how to skate and do these different things, but I've also learned how the body moves. And I'm able to, one of the other things I have a passion for is I like to golf. So I'm not particularly good at it, but I'm able to take the knowledge I've learned from skating and apply it to golf in the way that, like, okay, I know my ankles have some rotational ability and my knees, it's bi-directional. They bend this way. My hips can do this. And, I know that I'm more coordinated on my right side and actually physically stronger on my left, but less coordinated there. So I'm able to like kind of put those pieces together to learn other skills, for example.
That's great.
Yeah.
Great to know. So, Shaun, before we're almost done with this interview, but we cannot let you go before all of us, like most of us, have seen your videos on YouTube on your channel, that from flow skate, and now with Alex, and that we're also fans of Alex because he's a great camera guy.
Oh, I know.
Like really, really good at it.
Like, no better feeling I get than when I see those messages where people say they saw something I did and it inspired them to do it, or they learned something from one of my tutorial videos. So please, 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 your encouragement goes a long way.
So, Shaun, after this great interview, please could you tell us your social media pages, or where can we find you? I don't know, for all these new people that are going to see this video, this interview, and are going to be like eager to meet you, maybe to guide you, maybe to see all of your videos or your tutorials, not only the one you're going to show us here, but all of them. So could you please tell us your where to find you?
For sure. So for me, like my pride and joy is the YouTube channel that I've been building over the years, and that is youtube.com/flowskate. If you want to chat, I'd be really happy to meet up with you on Instagram. That's the best way to do that. And my Instagram is @Shaun_Unwin. Put it up on the screen.
Yeah,
I messed
sure.
that up really bad.
We will.
It's Shaun Unwin on Facebook. But
Great.
if you want to get a hold of me, Instagram's definitely the easiest way to do that.
So all of you fans, Shaun Unwin fans, you know right now that he's gonna be like waiting for your comments, for I don't know, for your texts maybe. So stay tuned with us. And
Sure. Oh, I should say too, I have a website that I always
Okay.
forget to mention. But the website is ShaunUnwin.com. And you
ShaunUnwin.com.
can email me off the website if you like.
Oh, great.
And I read all your emails, I read all your comments, so please, please, please send them forward.
I think you're gonna get a lot of emails after this video. So
I love it. Great. Please.
So Shaun, it was really a pleasure to meet you, to talk to you, to have you here on this interview. Is there anything else you wanted to say to all your new fans in Colombia and Latin America?
Well, I mean, thank you for your support. Namaste. Peace and love to every skater around the world. And keep on skating. Like, you owe it to yourself. Skate around with a big smile on your face. Even if you have no one else to skate with, if you're out there enjoying it, you're going to bring people to you. And let's grow this community. Let's share the love.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a positive force for the world, and let's make this bigger. Let's make it way more. We talked about the early 90s or the mid 90s and the boom that was there. No, let's make this bigger. Let's spread it worldwide. Have your extra pair of skates with you in the trunk of your car. Share them with somebody else. Let's spread this thing for sure.
We will. We surely will.
Totally agree with that unifying message. And yeah, let's grow this thing. That's why we're here, and that's why we're going to keep doing these sort of recordings or this sort of video, these sort of interviews.
Entonces, bueno chicos, se acabó el inglés. Hoy tuvimos clase de inglés con Shaun Unwin, clase de patinaje, de espiritualidad, más dicho, de todo. Por hoy se nos acabó el programa. Ahí van a tener todos los videos, ya saben las direcciones de social media de Shaun para que le escriban. Como se dieron cuenta, pues va a estar esperando sus nuevos comentarios, textos en su página web. Vamos a entrar en un flow skate, así como nos acaba de enseñar Shaun. Entonces agradecemos a Camilo, a Shaun, a todos ustedes que están allá. Muchas gracias por estar con nosotros y sigan pendientes de las nuevas entrevistas y todos los nuevos videos que vamos a hacer con el equipo de skate.com. Entonces nos vemos en una próxima. Muchas gracias. Chao.